The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Start it off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hilary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And a good Thursday morning to you, one and all of you Liberty lovers and ecclesiastites. Here it is, August number 3 in the year of our Lord 2017. I don't know why, but I've got lots and lots of energy this morning. Raring to go. Here it is. It is Military Tribute Thursday, meaning that we have some military tribute music. We have a special military tribute to be read to you this morning, as well as some military news later on in the program. Plus your phone calls and lots of insightful commentary from yours truly, me. So sit down and relax and get put on your thinking caps, your logical caps for the next 3 hours, because we are here 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number, should you wish to utilize that. And I know sometimes you wonderful listeners out there, you do like to listen, and you sometimes like to call in. Both are just fine with moi. Call in or just sit back and listen. Get some information. I'm not going to steer you wrong. You should also make sure that a buddy or a pal or a liberal idiot tunes in. Just grab that. Grab a person who you think has never heard the show before. Grab a liberal. So you got to listen to this guy. Bribe him. Well, no, you can't bribe them. I would say, promise them that you listen to one of their talk show hosts. But I wouldn't do that. I've tried. Lord knows I have tried to listen to liberal radio talk show hosts. 99% of them are absolutely terrible. None of them seem to be able to tell the truth on a regular basis. And it'll if you know the truth, listening to a liberal talk radio show it'll incense you. It'll raise your blood pressure. So you probably don't want to make that trade-off. If you're a strong person, maybe you could make that trade-off. I mean, if you're a really ultra strong, if you're a superhuman, not Superman, but if you're a superhuman, and you got to know this before you try it. You have to know. See, I am superhuman. Now, I'm not Superman, but I am superhuman. And it is very difficult for me to take listening to some of these liberal people, because I invariably have called in to many of them. That's basically that's how a lot of people found me when I first started on Blog Talk Radios. I would call other liberal shows and they would invariably hang up on me and then block me. Now, on BTR back in the day, I don't know if that's still the case today, but back in the day, back in 2009 when I first started, if you block somebody, they couldn't even listen to your program. By the way, I got something here about ACLU suing some governors from blocking people. Should I have sued those programs back in 2009 for blocking me? Because I couldn't even listen to their program. The only thing that happens today on Twitter if you block somebody is they don't see your tweets. You can respond to anything. They just don't see it. But back then when they blocked you on BTR, you couldn't even listen to the damn show. So, now again, I don't know if that's still the case today. Maybe they've changed that, but to where you just can't get into the chat rooms or call in or something like that. But yeah, I've been blocked by many a liberal radio. Now, isn't that funny? I have never once, no matter how rude, how pathetic, how wrong, how irresponsible, or any other negative adjective you can think of, I have never blocked anyone from calling my show. And yet I got blocked a ton of times from liberals. It just goes to show you who's really more accepting and who's not in this realm of ours. And well, that's a little bit different. What the heck just happened here? I have no idea. Guess I won't be using that clock today. My computer clock just reverted to 9 a.m. It's not 9 a.m. right now. It's a few minutes past, but I have no idea how this stuff happens. I really don't. But in any case, I have been blocked before. But today we've got all the wonderful military tribute stuff today that we normally do. Like I said, it's got a special one this morning. And no, I am still not up to reading. I'm going to have to get to it before the end of the summer. That one really heart-tugging one that I was going to try to read last week, but I just could not bring myself to doing it. And maybe it's just, and look, here I am, superhuman, and I can't deal with or handle some of that stuff. But if you are going to go over there and talk to those people over there in on liberal radio land, you've got to be superhuman, because you'll just blow up at them out of their obvious and sheer stupidity and their sheer bending of the truth and just out and out lies. Let's take an early phone call. Let's go to the phones right now. 731. Good morning, darling. How are you?
Hey, you're going back in time. You are superhuman.
Yeah.
Hey, happy Military Day. And Stephen Miller, boy, he roasted Jim McCoskey yesterday, didn't he?
I missed that, but I heard that, yes.
Ooh, it was. It's worth going back and watching. It was so good. What I wanted, since it was Military Day, I read an article late last night, and the U.S. Herald put this out, and it was, in essence, it was talking about backstabbing traitor McCain, who just announced his plan to seize the presidency if President Trump doesn't meet his repugnant demand. Now, this is God's honest truth. McCain has been a thorn, as we know, in Trump's side since Inauguration Day, basically. He was the one, he comes out with the cast the spoiler vote that killed the Republicans and keep them from repealing Obamacare. Now he's threatening to make his move against Trump if he doesn't come up with a better plan on how to pacify Afghanistan. McCain voted for every single war in the Middle East that we've had. And he won't stop until we have another war with Russia, China, North Korea, irregardless of the loss of life of our military men and women. He doesn't care. But, and this is according to the Freedom Daily. On Monday, McCain reportedly threatened to produce legislative action to take over, quote, as commander-in-chief if Trump doesn't produce a military strategy for Afghanistan by September. And
well, that's just slightly unconstitutional. That's not his purveyance to do so.
It's basically treason. It's treason.
It's a coup.
It is, and that was my next word. Yes, it is a coup, plain and simple. He thinks he can just stage a coup, and he's got cancer. Does he not have brain cancer?
Well, I mean, that's part of the look. I mean, this brain cancer thing is probably the reason why this guy is off the deep end. He's always been a little bit fruity and kooky, but the brain cancer now has really caused him to do and say a number of different things. And people, brain cancer or not, people should remind him rather rudely that he's being an idiot and highly unconstitutional, and something like this could be construed as being treasonous. Because you don't try to overthrow the government that way. That's what he's trying to do.
No,
this is not Venezuela.
No, this is not. That's exactly my point. That was my next point. You know, these people better realize in Arizona especially, because I'm calling this traitor today myself. I'm not even in his state. But this is dangerous waters. And Lindsey Graham is in on this, and I wouldn't have.
It's just full blown. Here's my medical diagnosis. It's just full blown Trump derangement syndrome. These people are so adamant about hating on Trump. They will do anything, including trample on the Constitution. I've never seen anything like this. I have never seen anything in history.
Not just openly talking to a reporter and telling them this is what you're going to do. This wasn't like sources said and or sources reported. You know, this is him saying he is planning to do this. And, you know, just like those sanctions with Russia and North Korea. Well, you know, Trump put out the memo, whatever, at the end. There's an amendment or something saying this is not really going to help us. This is going to hurt Americans. This causes an inability for me to negotiate and try to get along with these countries that we have been fighting with. And that's what they want. That's their whole goal. That's when they wake up in the morning. And you know, it makes you wonder, what in the hell do they want from Afghanistan so badly?
Well, we have a bunch of Napoleons in Congress, and they think that they can be a better commander in chief than Donald Trump, because after all, they're politicians. They've been in the business, so to speak, for years and decades, and some of them decades and decades. And Trump hasn't, so he's just a neophyte. He's a neophile. He's a beginner. He doesn't know what he's doing. So they feel that they can do a better job. But, you know, let's be honest. You know, we've had Congress, just about all presidents over the past 50 years or so have probably gone through this with members of Congress thinking they can do a better job than the guy who's actually sitting in the Oval Office. And they've done stuff like this, but never at this kind of a level. I will agree. I mean, this is just continued bombardment against Trump.
Well, they're scared. That makes you know we've got the right guy in there. Because if they weren't so afraid, and I'm going to tell you, I think there's been so much going on for so long that we didn't have a clue about. But because God blessed us and Hillary Clinton did not win that office, some light is being shed on a lot of what's been going on that we didn't have a clue about. And I'm here to tell you that we need term limits. I mean, we need term limits so bad because these people go in there with nothing and come out with millions and millions of dollars in their pocket. Yeah, and I once worked for a county, kind of like a health department type thing when I first got out of school. You know what? I made pennies, but I gave back to my community. And that's what I feel about Congress. If you're going to be a congressman or you're going to be a mayor or whatever you're going to be, you should give that your all and not expect to go in there and become rich. Until we stop that, and it's going to take the people. Trump can't do this alone. And that's why every day I try to spread the word. And thank goodness that you allow me to do that. But because Twitter is censoring so badly, and they even came out and said it yesterday, that they were going to censor, just totally ignoring the First Amendment right in the name of hate speech. They said anything that's hate speech. Hate speech is, I love my president. That's hate speech.
Yeah, anything that they don't that they disagree with is hate speech. I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen them say it and do it. And you're a fascist. You're a pig. You're a bigot, homophobic, racist. If you don't agree with them, I get it. Anyway,
there's so much more I could talk about, but I know your time's limited. But anyway, you hang in there and thank you for all you do. You're going to go to heaven with a big old crown.
Well, thank you.
Even if you are superhuman, you're superhuman, but you're going to heaven.
I appreciate that. I hope so, but hopefully not anytime soon. I have a lot to accomplish yet.
No, we have work to do. You can't go anywhere right now. Okay, well, listen, have a great day, and thanks for all you do.
You too. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Well, don't go anywhere, folks, as we do have a lot more to speaking of Twitter, got something about, it's not having to do with Twitter, but it has to do with Facebook, so social media. Got something here about the Zuck you're going to want to hear. Stay tuned.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avancé brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avancé gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
603-835-3226 as we move along here and try to deal with technical issues here in the Bunkerized studio this morning. I don't know, maybe the thunderstorms yesterday that rolled through this area did something, but I don't know. But all the clocks here are off from each other, including I don't know. I can't even figure it out. Even the Spreaker show clock is 5 minutes off. So it's going to force me to make some adjustments if that doesn't switch and change itself. But we will carry on anyway. Yeah, it says I've been on the air 5 minutes longer than I have. I don't know how that happens. That's never happened before. Very interesting. Anyway, Zuckerberg here got something about Mark Zuckerberg. Evidently, Zuckerberg hires former Clinton pollster Joe Benenson. 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 Benenson will advise the Facebook founder's philanthropy, but the move comes amid speculation about Zuckerberg's political ambitions. I think this kid, well, he's not a kid. He's a 30-something-year-old man now. He's still a millennial, by the way. He's one of the first batches. I don't know how old he really is. Is he 33, 34? In 2020, he'll be old enough. He'll have reached the minimum age of 35 to run for president. You know, most people don't even realize. You know how many millennials that don't know that you have to be at least 35 to run for president, to be president of the United States? Got to be at least 35. I remember the day that I turned 35, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, congratulations! Now you can run for president." That didn't make me feel better, by the way. It just didn't. But, yeah, so he'll be 35, well, over 35. Well, no, he'll be just about 35 or 36, I guess, in 2020. And this, I think this kid is starting to feel his oats and likes power. It's scary that people, I know in this day and age you really have to think about, years ahead before you actually do it if you're going to run for something like the presidency. But it's kind of scary that we have people that plan like this. Early on. I mean, I see and hear teenagers today talking about running for public office, when they're in their late 20s and 30s. I'm like, no, do not. I always tell people, don't do that. Do not think that the way to do things is to have public service.
No matter where.
It's all you're going to do is public service. No, we don't do public service as a lifelong ambition in this country. Shouldn't. But there are a lot of people that do. But anyway, I don't. Just don't get into it. You need to have a real job. That should be a prerequisite for for any public office. You have to have worked in the real world at some point first. We'll be back.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
603-835-3226. Yes, indeed, that is the number to call should you wish to join me here live this morning here on the Rod Eccles Show. This military tribute Thursday. Have a tribute song here. It is called "Welcome Home," and it's a good one. It's not a jump up and down, rip roaring one like some of the other songs I've played, but it's still a very solemn and good one. Give it a listen. "Welcome Home" is this morning, one of two this morning that we have. We'll do another one in the third hour. Tribute songs for our wonderful military here on Military Tribute Thursday.
I watched a young soldier take his seat on the plane, and the guy by the window said, "Son, what's your name?" He said, "Hi, I'm Jimmy, just back from overseas. When these boots touch down in Texas, I'm gonna drop to my knees, 'cause I ain't seen my wife 18 months and 14 days. The man smiled at him and said, "Well, let me be the first to say, welcome home, welcome home. It's good to have you back where you belong. You fought hard for this land you love, and I thank you for all of us. We're proud to call you one of our own. Welcome home." And then the man looked away and said, "I know how you must feel. I spent 2 long years in Vietnam. When I got back to Jacksonville, there were protest signs and picket lines, and some girls spit in my face. Hey, I was just a kid trying to make this world a safer place." Then his voice started trembling, and in his eyes I saw a tear. He said, "I didn't need a hero's welcome, but it's sure been nice to hear. Welcome home, welcome home. It's good to have you back where you belong. You fought hard for this land you love, and I thank you for all of us. We're proud to call you one of our own. Welcome home." Well, the band was playing and the crowd was cheering as we came walking through that gate. Then the soldier stopped and turned to the man standing near him, saluted him and said, "Sir, I know it's a little late, but welcome home. Welcome home. It's good to have you back where you belong. You fought hard for this land you love, and I thank you for all of us. We're proud to call you one of our own. We're so proud to call you one of our own. Welcome home.
For all those wonderful hero soldiers returning home from theaters of war around the globe, indeed, welcome home. You will never get spat in the face from this person. I would, if I saw that happening to a soldier, I know the soldier wouldn't respond, but I would. I would floor that person. I would just drop him right there. I mean, that's just, if you do that to anybody, that's just disgusting and highly disrespectful and absolutely no, I don't care how much you dislike the person or how much you feel that they may need. I would never do that to anybody because that is just disgusting, sick. It is so highly irresponsible and disrespectful. It doesn't matter. You need to be dropped right there post haste. Yeah, and I'm not one that advocates violence all the time, but certain times, because that is an assault. I mean, it's just no. You don't spit on people. The most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And we think it's kind of cool because we see it on TV shows and movies. You know, that's how they get back at people. They spit at them. Hey, man, I would just drop somebody right there. Like, oh, are you going to do one punch him, man? You see, I have this little trick. You don't punch him in the face. You throat him. You cup somebody in the throat, they can't breathe. They're going to drop to their knees. That's how you drop them. And they can't respond because it takes a while to recover when you get throated. Has anybody ever been throated? Struck in the throat? Well, when I did martial arts, you know, the sensei did that to us. So because that was one of the strikes, and he wanted us to know what it was. And he didn't do it hard. And just a tap in that area really makes you think twice about continuing any type of attack on people. You can't do anything for a few minutes. You really can't. It's the most controlling strike anybody could ever put on somebody else. You are out of the fight for a while, and if it's unfortunately if it's something that's life and death, I mean you're done. But yeah, you don't punch somebody in the face. I know we see it in the movies all the time, but it's not the best thing. You're just as likely to break bones in your hand by hitting somebody in the jaw as you are to break their jaw. Seriously. You know, hitting somebody punching people in the face is not the greatest way to go in a fight. It really isn't. That's why you see boxing a lot of times. Boxers will go for the body. That does actually more pain. But yeah, you throat somebody. Just cup them in the throat. That'll drop them real quick. Any case, and I'm not advocating. I know some people are saying Rod's advocating violence on his radio show. Not really. Here's something that's going to make you feel old, though. Want to feel old? Anybody remember what is his name here? Well, let me just see if you can get this. Anybody remember watching the Dukes of Hazzard? Okay, do you know who Ben Jones is? Well, Ben Jones is the actor who played Cooter. You remember Cooter? Now the Dukes of Hazzard was on. I didn't realize it was on that late in the 70s, but 79 to 85. So it was on for 6. I knew it was on for a few years. But somehow I just assumed it was mostly in the 70s, but it was almost all of it was in the 80s. But Dukes of Hazzard from 79 to 85, and he played that wonderful mechanic Cooter. Helping keep the General Lee in working condition and ahead of Boss Hogg and Sheriff Roscoe B. Coltrane. Yeah, anybody? Well, here's something to make you feel old. He turned 76 this month. Yeah, Cooter 70. How old is John Schneider then? Well, they're all in their 70s now, aren't they? Even Daisy. I don't think I want to see Daisy in those Daisy Dukes nowadays. But yeah, Barbara Bach. Is she still alive? But anyway, he also spent 2 years, or two, well, not two, but 14, 2 terms, excuse me. He spent 2 terms in Congress. Yeah, well, I mean, there are a number of TV actors that actually went into, anybody remember, Love Boat, anybody remember Gopher? Fred Grandy served a couple of terms in Congress. Fred Thompson, everybody remember Fred Thompson played president on TV, he played senators and everything else on TV, and he actually was a senator for a while, and he did run for president briefly. He passed away a few years ago, but yeah, Fred Thompson, actor, TV and movie actor, was also in there. Well, obviously Ronald Reagan was an actor. There have been a lot of actors, a lot of conservative actors that have run for Congress and won. And there have been some liberal ones, most notably Al Franken. I don't think he was really an actor as he was just a comedian and skit person. Did he really do any movies? I don't ever remember seeing Al Franken in any movies. Just comedy skits like in Saturday Night Live and stuff. That's about it. He may have done movies. I don't know. But in any case, Ben Jones, he's still alive. He played Cooter on the Dukes of Hazzard. He's turning 76 later this weekend, I do believe. Just kind of funny though, and that came across my news feed this morning. But back to Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg, evidently, the Facebook CEO Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla. Can you imagine having Priscilla Chan as the first lady? It has nothing to do with her being of Asian descent. Nothing that has nothing to do with it at all. But she's just a liberal nut job. Now she's not. She doesn't have a big mouth. I've never, Michelle Obama. I've never heard her say this is the first time in my life I've been proud of my country type of thing. But she's probably worse than Michelle Obama as far as liberalism is concerned. I mean, Priscilla Chan she's a wacko. And she's also a doctor, which, explains, we've got a lot of doctors that are liberal. And she's not a cheap doctor, by the way. From what I understand, she makes a pretty penny. They've hired a Democratic pollster, Joel Benenson, a former top advisor to President Barack Obama, and the chief strategist to Hillary Clinton in her failed 2016 presidential campaign bid. Well, that's fine. If he wants to hire Benenson to direct a 2020 or 2024 presidential campaign, it most likely means he's going to lose. So yeah, go right ahead. I don't mind. But I think it's kind of interesting that he would do such a thing after he's running around. He's everything that he's been doing this past year or two has been signaling that he's planning and prepping for a run. Seriously, do you really want? Everybody talks about how Donald Trump has been sued. Do you really want a guy? Every time he gets sued and he settles out of court. As far as, building up Facebook, and there's gag orders. People can't really talk about the settlements that they got and what really went on. All we got is that stupid movie, Social Network. And you have Zuckerberg basically being the only one that was disparaging that movie, saying that's not how it really happened. And you got everybody else who surrounds Zuckerberg in that movie said, yeah, that's pretty much how it was. The guy was a scheming, conniving, he's smart, scheming, conniving SOB. And oftentimes, a lot of times, when he went to raise capital. A lot of his partners had their shares diluted, and his were not, which is why he ended up with controlling interest still in Facebook and having so much in stock, and everybody else got diluted to basically worthlessness almost. Look, I never said that Zuckerberg was stupid. I mean, let's face it. He went to Harvard, and he was holding his own at Harvard before he dropped out because he saw something better. See, he was smart enough to drop out of Harvard. So he's not a dumb guy. I almost called him a kid again. He's not. Look, when you hit 30, you're no longer a kid. Sorry, you're a grown up. You should be a grown up. Yeah, he doesn't sound like a grown up. You ever listen to him talk? I can't listen to Zuckerberg talk. It sounds. I think I'm still talking to a 15-year-old, or I'm listening to a 15-year-old when he talks. But that's how they all talk in how a lot of millennials sound actually. But he doesn't. He's smart only to a point because he doesn't think logic. You know, he can think logically about his algorithms on Facebook, but when it comes to life in general, there's no logical thought there. Just like many of these big Democrats and big liberals, they rail against certain things happening in society, and the ones who are perpetrating the crimes against society that they rail against are the Democrats. So they end up protesting Democrats, but they blame Republicans. And that doesn't make any sense. Any case. So he's putting together make no mistake about it, he has some political, I don't know why. Well, because he thinks power is where it's at. Is it as if Facebook doesn't have enough power in our lives as it is? Well, you can choose not to be a member of Facebook, but if you're an American citizen, you gotta renounce your citizenship and move out of the country if you don't want to be under the thumb of whoever the president happens to be at that particular point in time. So there is a difference, and I wouldn't doubt it if Zuckerberg used the military to enforce this stupid environmentalist wacko stuff either. Can you imagine if Al Gore were president? Ugh.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Well, I'm just going to have to punt this morning. I can't seem to... None of the clocks seem to want to stay. It's really weird how time is fleeting. I don't know. None of the clocks seem to want to stay where they're supposed to be at, and I keep getting different times, and it's maddening actually when you're sitting here trying to run all the boards and stuff for the program, and you keep getting different. Even the wonderful official government time online, which is what I also use to help run the program, seems to be off. It's just one of those days. You have, speaking of Zuckerberg and social media, the ACLU is suing GOP governors. A couple of GOP governors over troll blocking on social media. And somebody asked, well, why don't they sue any Democratic governors? Well, because usually you don't have a bunch of conservatives being belligerent like you do liberals being belligerent. So the question is, does the First Amendment require elected officials to give access to everyone on social media? Well, the ACLU thinks so, and it will take two Republican governors to court over their decisions to block abusive Twitter and Facebook users. Now, the ACLU branches in Kentucky and Maryland filed lawsuits this week on behalf of blocked Twitterers, arguing that they have a First Amendment right to petition their government. Yeah, you do, but you don't have a right. You have a right to speak, but you don't have a right to be heard. Now, with that said, if it's a government account or you're using it as a government account, I'm going to say something here that's probably going to incense a few people. I'm going to have to side with the ACLU unless you are being threatening or completely off base and belligerent in preventing other people from expressing their opinions and petitioning the government. I don't think you should be blocked. I'm sorry, but you're not supposed to tune out that way. Somebody whose conversations you don't like. Now, if it's your personal page and not a government page, that's a different story. Now, here's the difference, though. I mean, I know a lot of people, like President Trump, is using his personal page as his presidential page or tweet account. So, but there's also still a White House account. And other government accounts. So when it comes to Trump blocking somebody on his personal account, Donald Trump, I think he should be allowed to do so. It's his, nobody else's. But if it's the presidential or White House account, then no, he can't really block anybody and shouldn't. I don't think it's such a hard thing to come up with.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Here it is, Thursday, August number 3 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number is 603-835-3226. As we proceed on into the program on this, it's rather sunny day, going to be warm today. Chance of thunder boomers again later today. We had a good old-fashioned thunder boomer yesterday evening. Some flash flooding. We had some flash flooding warnings throughout the state, couple of states, New Hampshire and Maine, yesterday. I guess up in a little town called Freedom, New Hampshire, took the brunt of nature's wrath yesterday. A lot of people were, trees were blown over and struck down on power lines. It is beyond me why we, in many areas, we still hang power lines and communication wires up in the air. Well, because it's more expensive to bury them. I don't give a rat's you-know-what. Because in the end, there's a lot less maintenance that has to be done. You're trying to tell me that it is that much cheaper to hang these things in the air so that they get blown over, blown down, ice and snowstorms take them down, and people are left without power. Sometimes, life-saving power, especially in extreme climate times like the middle of winter. If you live out in the sticks here, if you don't have a generator of some sort of size generator, you're a fool. You're risking it, man. And there are a lot of people in the cities of New Hampshire now that are starting to get these generators, whole house generators, and partial house generators and things like that. But it's important because our power grid is stupid still. Do you realize we haven't really changed the way our power grid is designed? In 100 years, it's still the same damn stupid thing. Yeah, let's take all these power lines and hang them up in the air where they're exposed to the elements instead of burying them and further protecting them that way. You're going to have very little power outage if your lines are buried. And where do they bury these things? Oh, well, downtown areas in cities, in towns all over the country because the aesthetics. They don't want, power lines over their head anymore because it looks terrible. But everywhere else they can have them up above. But we have this thing called the Northern Pass that they want to put here in New Hampshire. It's a bad idea, by the way. But they want to just take these high tension wires down the middle of the state, basically. I mean, this is the most asinine thing I've ever heard of or seen. Put these big, huge, ugly, timber and metal towers that hold these big, long, ugly lines. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. We could use some additional power up here to lower our prices, because up here in the great Northeast, we have some of the highest electric rates in the entire country. But it's just because of where we're at the end of the line for all this major power. But that's the problem. All these major power generators, they want to be located outside of the region and then ship the power in via these stupid lines. And it's easy to have those lines cut off. So what we don't need is more of it. And they're ugly, for one. They ruin the view and the scenery, for two. And we're known for our scenery, obviously. I mean, do you want to go out in the woods and hiking on the trails and on the White Mountains and Green Mountains and see a bunch of high-tension power lines running over them? No. And these folks don't want to bury them. They don't want to run the lines down next to highways or existing power routes. They want to make a whole new power route and just carve this line and path through. It's no. I think it's time we rethink how power is not only generated, but how it's distributed in this country. And to have these massive central power stations is old-fashioned and outdated. And we need to have, I'm going to say, we need to have cleaner generating power stations that are smaller in scale and more localized. Because if you do that, there's less of a chance of, it strengthens your power grid. You can say, well, you can't have all these. It's easier to protect massive. No, it's not easier to protect massive power plants because their transmission lines are not protected. So if you have why do you think we have so many towers? Cell communication towers? Because if you have a whole ton of them, it's harder to knock out all communication. You got to get a lot more towers. So if instead of one giant power station, if you have 5 or 6 of them dotted around, it's going to be a lot harder and more difficult to knock out power. Plain and simple. We've got to start thinking more modern, and these large. Look, if businesses are starting to think smaller, so they can react to the marketplace faster and deliver product and services faster and more economically to the customer and the consumer, why aren't we doing the same thing in government and in our power generation? Oh no, everybody wants to talk about you got these massive hydroelectric plants and massive gas plants and coal plants and nuclear plants. Screw that. Go smaller. Go cleaner, and it'll be more cost effective. Well, how is it cost effective when you got 6 plants that are doing the work of one? Well, because those transmission lines are pretty damn expensive to build and maintain, and you need a lot more of the transfer stations. Because you got to step down all that high power, and before you can distribute it. So if you have less of those, that also means that that your cost comes down. And they've talked about we've heard. Well, I don't know if you people have heard this, but there have been power executives that have talked about this for the past few decades about going smaller power generating plants in more localized areas. Not these big, massive, huge things that, not a single power plant that'll power half a state. That's old-fashioned, that's old, that's expensive, it's outdated, and it just doesn't fit the way we live anymore. There's a better way. Government, there's a better way. Not big, bloated government, but smaller, more localized government. Just like the founders envisioned. Hey, this is the federal, what the federal government does, and this is what the state government should probably do. Well, you decide what your state government's going to do within your state. And so your state says, well, this is what the state level is going to do, and this is what the municipal level is going to do, the local level and county level. But no, we seem to think that we've gotten to a point where we think all that local stuff should be shot up and shot down and shot over to Washington, D.C., where a big, bloated, humongous federal bureaucracy handles it, and it can't handle it, and it tears everything apart, and it all sucks, and it's expensive, overly expensive. Where if we would have cut things down to size, make it more localized, it'd be more efficient and cheaper for everybody, and it wouldn't take governments the size of, some nations. Seriously. I mean, when you're looking at how many people work for government in this country, it is unbelievable. Millions. And I'm not even talking military personnel. Just government bureaucrats. At the federal, state, county, and local level, it is millions of people. That's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. It's inefficient. And it's unresponsive. So, no, we should not be growing government bigger. We should be looking at ways to make it smaller and more localized. Because, the only thing that central command and control works on, well, it doesn't even work all that well in military anymore. We've decentralized our military command. Why? Well, because, if you take out the Pentagon and everything's centralized, how is the rest of the military going to operate? Well, we've decentralized it. So you could take out one part. You could take out the Pentagon, but since it's been decentralized, there's command centers all over the planet that can still command and control a war effort. So the military even gets it. You spread the risk around, and it makes you safer and more efficient. But somehow the rest of the government hasn't picked up on that. No, we want to make everything more centralized in state capitals and in Washington, D.C. So to make state governments bigger and more bloated, make the federal government bigger and more bloated and less responsive to the people that they serve. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a hell of a lot of sense in their eyes, obviously. But well. In any case, speaking of military, it is time for the military tribute this morning. This morning's tribute is a special one for me, and I was wondering if I'd be able to do this, but it has been 2 years this weekend, and this is a tribute to my father, Robert Eccles, Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, born in 1939. His date of service, August 1960. End of watch, August 2015. Now, my father entered the service as a means to a better life for him and his future wife, my mother, Cassie. Bob, as he was known by everybody called him Bob, except for his stepmother, who always called him Robert. And as a side note, he had a stepmother not because his father divorced, but his father was a widower. And my father's birth mother, his natural mother, passed away giving childbirth to the youngest member of the clan. I think my father was around 4 years old or so, 4 or 5, when that happened. But his stepmother always called him Robert. Everybody else, including his brothers and sisters, called him Bob. So he saw active duty in Vietnam in the 60s and 70s. And he was active duty in Vietnam twice with the U.S. Air Force. He was more than willing to stand for his country and his family and defend his country and family. He was often stationed at NORAD SAC bases. Those are the nuclear bases of the day, Strategic Air Command. Nuclear weapons were always at his disposal. He first flew as a navigator on the legendary B-52 bombers, doing numerous sorties over Vietnam during the war. He was loved by many. At his funeral services, there were a number of people, not many of whom I had never seen or heard of before. He did succumb to injuries sustained while in Vietnam on August 6th of 2015. And those injuries had to do with things like Agent Orange. And it's not something that a lot of people really understand and realize what Agent Orange will do to people many years later. And the VA told us this, that they were starting to see a number of increased cases of Agent Orange-related diseases, heart diseases, heart failure. And the VA was doing really nothing about it on a national level. But Robert E.L. Eccles, Master Sergeant U.S. Air Force, succumbed to Agent Orange-related heart failure problems on August 6th in the year 2015. And I'm proud to be his son and proud to call him father. He is missed. I miss him every day.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Six 603-835-3226. Welcome back. Kind of like that. That is called questioning, that bumper. I don't know what they're questioning. I don't think it's LGBT questioning. Evidently, speaking of LGBTQ, PDQ, XYZ, I'm not going to go down that road anymore. I'm just not. I'm just going to go back to the original saying of LGB. All this other stuff, not from what I understand, when it comes to cisgender, it basically means, from what I'm told, and how I understand it, cisgender means that you identify with the sex of your birth. Is that not also what we call straight? I don't know. This whole thing is just really blown out of proportion. And we have these, Trump had a tweet, what was it, last week now, about trannies, transvestites. Hey, that's wrong, Rod. You can't say transvestite. That's just politically incorrect. You got to say transgender, man. Now, transvestite. I'm of the age and generation. I remember the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm just a sweet transvestite. It doesn't work when you say, I'm just a sweet transgender. It doesn't work that way. Too bad if you get butt hurt over it. Double entendre not intended there, but it does fit, does it not? I'm tired of playing these games with these politically correct idiots. You are not a woman if you're born a man. And if you want to look like a woman on the outside, it should not be at the expense of the American people. If you are born a woman, you can never be as strong physically and mentally as a man when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now, women are a lot stronger in other areas than men. And frankly, women can take pain. They have a higher constitution than men, but they cannot battle and fight like a man. They just can't. And I don't care what hormones you're taking. You can't take a hormone and then just say, well, yeah, now I'm a guy because I can grow some facial hair and go jump in a foxhole and start acting like a guy. It doesn't work. We can't have these kind of people in the military. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Nothing really ticks me. Did you see? Anybody see they have this new survey that men can have a menstrual period too. Are you kidding me? You're a woman, not a guy. That's why you're having a menstrual period. Good grief. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. we're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
I've been asked the question is, well, Rod, how do you know so much about what gays like and don't like? I thought you were conservative. Look, in the 2000s, I worked security, bouncer, if you will, in both straight and gay clubs. And almost, I don't know, probably almost for 7 or 8 years I did this. And some of the straight clubs in the Boston area actually have what they call gay nights. And they could have been on a Saturday or a Sunday night. But I got to know a lot of gay and lesbian people. And you know what? Most of them, they're just out to have a good time. They really are. They're just out to live their lives the way they want to live it in privacy. And I don't have an issue with that. Most of them are not militant, and they're not trying to force their sexuality on anybody else. They're really not. Especially lesbians. If you're not a lesbian, I don't care what type of TV program you watch. What I saw in the greater Boston area was not what you see on TV. Gay people do not press themselves onto non-gay people, especially lesbians. If you're not a lesbian or interested in females and you're a female, they're not interested in you. Now, I don't know about the rest of the country. I'm just talking about my own little, part of the world, the greater Boston, Massachusetts area. They were not all that interested in people who did not play on the same team. Especially if you told them, "Well, no, sorry, guy, I'm straight." They'll always, complain. "Oh, that's too bad. Don't know what you're missing." Yeah, I got those kind of jokes all the time. But they never pressed. Not like you hear and see on TV or in the movies. It's not the way they really are. They're not all that radical, actually. And I'm going to be frank and honest, when it comes to the transgender thing, you know what gay men like? They like drag queens. They like guys who dress up as women, not guys who think that they're women. I'm serious. There is a difference. And look, we've had drag queens for a very long. Milton Berle was a famous drag queen. But as far as I know, Milton Berle, Uncle Milty, was straight, but he was a guy that dressed up as a woman to entertain men, especially in war zones. RuPaul got started. RuPaul, I don't know where RuPaul is. Now that he's gotten so damn famous, he's gotten very weird. But RuPaul pretty much started out as being just. Well, I don't think he was straight, but as a straight kind of guy, dressing up in drag. And everybody liked RuPaul, thought he was funny. He was. But now we've gone off the deep end with this stuff. And we're expecting people to treat these transvestites, Well, I guess we got to say, because if you're a girl pretending to be a man, that's not a transvestite, which is why I think they're going transgender. So if you're a transgendered person, you actually now think in your mind that you can override your actual DNA. And thus tell everybody, simply because you think that you're now a man when you're a woman, that you're a man and should be treated as one. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. Now, maybe down the line, sometime in the future in Star Trek land, you'll be able to actually change the physical traits of people via DNA after they're born. Did you see the designer baby stuff now? We're getting to the point where we're going to be able to edit a person's DNA. So, okay, so let's just say, how is this going to work out? You are, we have a lot of people that say that being gay is not a choice. You're born that way, which means it's in your DNA. So there's some sort of DNA signal or system or strand that would say that you're going to be, homosexual. Well, if we can edit the DNA while in the womb, could that mean the end of certain types of people? Like, gay, how many parents really want their children to be gay? How many parents want even a lot of gay parents want their kids to be, believe it or not, they want them to be straight. They want them to be happy, but they want them to be straight. I had that somewhere, actually. Where did I see that? It was a survey of homosexual parents. Now, this is also interesting. Gay men were more likely to want their offspring, their children, to be straight than lesbians. I found that interesting. But anyway, so the majority of gay parents want their children to be straight because they think that they'll be happier in life if they're straight. So what parent really wants their kid to be gay? Or a tranny? So if we can find that part of the DNA strand that gets all screwed up, and we eliminate it, haven't we just eliminated the homosexual community? Is there going to be outrage from the homosexual community about that? I seriously think about it. You'll be able to find defects and eliminate the defect. You won't have to abort your kid. You'll just eliminate the defects. Maybe you want your kid to have green eyes. Maybe you don't want your kid to have brown eyes or blue eyes. Well, you can edit that, evidently. So we're going to have designer babies to a certain degree. I mean, you won't be able to actually mold what your kid looks like. So you're not going to be able to make, supermodels. But you'll be able to control, things like hair color. Will you be able to control the sex? Probably, yeah, because that's part of your DNA. So is that going to eliminate all this kind of stuff that we find to be troublesome? Probably. So I'm guessing, why do we, if we're at the point now where we can actually, if you're actually believing that, homosexuality is you're born with it, it's in your DNA. Well, we're on the precipice now over the next few years of being able to edit it out. So the question is, who would want their kid to be gay? Especially if parents start editing that out, that means they're going to be more and more rare, so your kid's not going to be able to find happiness when they grow up. Right? I mean, just putting that out there, saying it. But what I found a lot within the gay community is that they do not rally around transgendered people. The gay community does not, for a number of reasons. But it's not what you think. What you think that you see in the lamestream media and from these radicalized, radically loud leftist groups. You think that that's the majority of that particular community. The majority of that particular community is very quiet, doesn't want to cause any trouble, wants to live their life the way they want to live it and be happy without being targeted, but they do not support the radical agenda of the LGBT so-called leadership groups. It's quite interesting, actually. And you hardly ever hear about a group called the Log Cabin Republicans. Yeah, that's a very large group of gay conservative Republicans. But we're told that gays are not conservative. We're told that gays would never vote for Trump, and yet we had tons and thousands of gays who voted for Trump and who support Trump. So this one-size-fits-all thing is just ridiculous. So when Trump says, that transgender will not be able to serve in the military, there wasn't this big brouhaha within the gay community. In fact, a lot of them said, well, they believe that he would make the right decision if he did implement that. And the vast majority of military personnel, I know you keep saying, 56, there was just a story this morning, 56 retired military leaders don't agree with President Trump's declaration that transgenders can't serve. Well, that's a bunch of BS. When you're looking, depending on the survey that you're talking, who does the survey, as many as 70 to 80% of current active military personnel do not want transgenders openly serving in the military. Well, they also said they didn't want gays. No, that number was actually a lot lower. So there's a difference when it comes to, even in the straight world, when it comes to the gay world. It's one thing to be a homosexual man or a woman mixed in with straight people, but it's a total other thing when you start saying, well, this guy, he actually thinks he's a woman, or this woman actually thinks she's a guy. That's a lot different. I'm not meaning to sound discriminatory, but no matter what, if you don't agree with these people, then you're going to be discriminatory, and you're going to be bigoted, and you're going to be transphobic and all that kind of stuff. And that is not the truth at all. The truth is, it's not normal. It's just not. That's like saying, well, you don't want to help people who are mentally ill. Well, of course you do. You're not being discriminatory against people who are mentally ill. You want to help them. Otherwise, just let them be mentally ill. Let them be crazy out in the street and do whatever they want, right? We don't do that. So you're not transphobic because you don't agree with, for legitimate reasons, you don't agree with this whole transgender nightmare thing. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash on this one, but I don't give a flip because I'm speaking the truth here. There's probably a bunch of listeners out there squirming in their seat and they're saying, come on, Rod, move on. No, we're talking about the military here. It's not a place for social experimentation. Besides, most social experimentation, even in the non-military world, is a complete and abject failure. Although we just keep doing it because, it's the right thing to do because liberals tell us, well, in order for us to be caring and loving and all-inclusive, we have to keep doing this. It's a failure. I had a story back in beginning of this year, how we're starting to see some evidence come about that's saying that children raised by same-sex couples is actually harming children. Oh, we've always known that, but we were told by the LGBT PDQ community that was a bunch of bunk. Well, now we've got a bunch of kids that have been raised by same-sex couples that are now adults, and they're coming out and saying, my entire life is screwed up because of my two mommies. I'm just saying. There's a lot of things out there that we're doing in society as these social experiments that we know will not, cannot, never have worked. And yet we think because we're so enlightened today, we can force these things to work. If it's unnatural, it's never going to work. A man who actually really thinks in his head that he's a woman is not a natural thing. It's not normal. It doesn't make you a woman. A woman who all of a sudden, for whatever reason, thinks that she's a guy, she's a man, and that she could stand in a boxing ring, toe-to-toe, and stand in the battlefield against another real man, has got a mental disorder. Just because you think it doesn't make it so. And all that is going to do is put those other soldiers, other military personnel, put their lives in danger, because you will not be able to live up to the standards that are required for the job that you're doing based on natural human sexual selection. Men are naturally physically stronger than women. And I don't care how many hormones you take, you're not ever going to be a man. Get over it.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message. A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and/or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. Hey, did you know this about the FBI and your privacy? I know people are saying, you think that the FBI is all about your privacy, Rod? They're not. Well, they're supposed to be because, we still live in the United States of America. So they're supposed to be all about your privacy. But nextgov.com has the story. If the FBI has your biometrics, it doesn't have to tell you. Yeah, that's right. A new rule will prevent millions of people from finding out if their fingerprints, iris scans, and other biometric information is stored in a massive federal database. The FBI's Next Generation Identification System stores the biometric records of people who have undergone background checks for jobs, volunteer positions, and military service, as well as of those who have criminal records. Effective August 31st of this year, that database will be exempt from certain parts of the Privacy Act, a law that allows people whose records are held by the federal government to request more information about which records they are. The exemption means the FBI doesn't have to acknowledge if it's storing your biometric data and records in the database. The Bureau has argued that notifying people that they were in the database could compromise investigations. How is that going to compromise investigation? Hey, Mr. FBI, do you have my biometric information stored in one of your databases? Yeah, we do. Well, it doesn't matter if you know or not, does it? Because you can't get rid of it. Isn't that the bigger? Hey, you got to destroy that. I mean, look, folks, I first rose a red flag about this stuff a long time ago, right after 9/11, when every time that if you got arrested, you got fingerprinted for everything. And those fingerprints went to the FBI and the federal government and the Department of Homeland Security and put into their database. Even if you were never charged with a crime, once you got fingerprinted, it did not stay with that local police department. It went into a national database. Now, how easy is it to get arrested? It's very easy, as we've seen. All you got to do, I mean, this is not a slam against cops and our men and women in blue at all. But all you really have to do is look at a cop, give him the finger, and tell him to F off, and they can place you under arrest for disorderly conduct or disobeying an officer. That's how easy it is. Anybody can be arrested for anything, any reason, at any time. Disturbing the peace. Maybe you're sitting on a park bench and something bored you half to death and you fell asleep and you're snoring. Yeah, you can get arrested for disturbing the peace. People have. Now, most police officers don't want to go through all the paperwork to do that, but you could be, and people have been. So you can be arrested for literally anything under the sun. If they decide that they want your biomarkers for whatever reason, then they're going to get it. And we developed a system where we find, well, you only get arrested if you do something wrong. I can't tell you how many people say that to me. I'm like, are you out of your mind? It's a tool of overbearing government to try to control the masses. Now, I'm not into the conspiracy theory stuff, but folks, that's the truth. It is the truth. If you have right-sized government, they're not going to be so interested in trying to garner your biometric identity. And look, we've got airports now. They're going to be starting a testing in many of the airports across the country. Boston Logan is one of them, where if you're going to take an international flight, you've got to have your face scanned. What do you think they're going to do with that information? Oh, the TSA says it'll be deleted after 2 weeks. Why is it going to take 2 weeks to delete it? And isn't that what they said about those stupid naked scanners? Oh, yeah, we don't keep that stuff around. It gets deleted until it shows up on the internet. Now, give me a break.
day, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you got to get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me. My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better, at nih.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. He's Rod Eccles.
Welcome back. Yes, indeed. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours in Internet talk radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. 603-835-3226 on this Thursday, August number 3 in the year of our Lord 2017. Glad that you are here participating, listening. We don't ban anybody, by the way. We don't block anybody. If you want to call in and be a total jackass, you're allowed to do that. It doesn't mean I won't hang up on you, but you're still I won't block you. Unless I don't think I've ever, I think maybe in all the time that I have been on social media, I think maybe I could count on one hand the number of people I've blocked or banned. As a matter of, I think I've only on Facebook. I think I've only blocked one person. Well, and it was simply because this person was just over the top racist. I mean, it was just hello. You're gonna start disparaging black people on a black man's page. Hello. And even then, I gave him 3 shots. I said, hey, you got to cool it, or you're gonna go. It's strike 1. And then he did it again. Okay, it's strike 2, man, dude. You got to cool it. Okay, strike 3, you're out. So it's not like I automatically banned the dude. He had a chance, but he decided to go the other way. So, but as I've mentioned before, and people know this, especially if you're on the right, you know that you've been censored and blocked and banned. From leftist pages, happens all the time. And I'm not saying that conservatives or Republicans don't block or ban people, because they do, but nowhere near the amount of times as the left does. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you don't agree with them nearly, at least 90%, then you are a racist, bigoted, homophobic, transphobic type of person, and you don't deserve to be in their presence. And they will ban you, block you, shout you down, try to keep you from speaking. When was the last time you saw a Republican group protesting Al Gore, for instance, giving a speech and keeping him from doing that? Yeah, it never happened, has it? Nope. But you get the left that does it all the time. Just say, now who's more enlightened and who's more accepting and open-minded? Well, I happen to think that it's conservatives. We put up with a lot of crap. We do. We put up with a lot of crap. Most of the crap comes from the left, and we still put up with it. We're told that we're the ones that are bigoted, racist, homophobic, and all that kind of stuff, and we're closed-minded, and we don't allow others to speak. That's not the truth. We put up with a hell of a lot more than the left does, and we know this. But we do it out of a sense of we do it out of a sense of fairness, in a sense in a belief that everyone has a right to their opinion. Now we also believe that just because you have an opinion doesn't mean you have the right to be heard. You have a right to speak your opinion, but you don't have a right to be heard. I don't have to listen to you. Well, yeah, you do, because otherwise you're trampling on my free speech rights. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that you can't say whatever you want to say. I'm not saying that you can't say it over in the, on the street corner and you can't print it in the newspaper. I'm saying I don't have to listen to it or read it. That's my right. You can jump on your soapbox and start speaking in the middle of the park, and I can walk away. That's my right. In effect, I'm blocking you, I guess, if I don't stand there and listen. But hey, I don't have to listen to you. And you don't have to listen to me. It's that easy. You can turn off the radio or switch the channel, what have you. It's that easy. There's no need for name calling and such bigotry and lawsuits. It's just redonkulous. If you do all that kind of stuff, it's because you want to force your beliefs and your ideas down my throat. You want to force me to believe your way. Well, let me just remind you of a little bit of a wisdom gem. So it's a short little saying, but it is so true. And you would be wise to understand it and heed it. And here is how the little gem of wisdom goes. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So you think you convinced the person by badgering them and berating them, and they still have the same opinion as they did before you started berating them and badgering them and trying to shout them down. In fact, you probably solidified that opinion even more by doing that. You know how you persuade somebody? You persuade somebody with facts, and to some degree emotion, but usually with facts. And that's how you persuade. It's called a debate. I hate that they use the term argument. It's not an argument. It's a debate. Each side presents facts, and then you get to decide. That's how you convince people to come to your side. You don't convince them by shouting them down. Anyway. Where were we? The FBI. Under this current new rule, now the FBI published the final rule this week, and the FBI just made up the rule themselves. They just decided, well, we're not gonna let you know. Now, under the rule, individuals won't be able to find out what types of records the FBI may have because it could specifically reveal investigative interest by the FBI or agencies that are recipients of the disclosures. Now, most of the criminal records in that database are obtained from state and local agencies at the time of arrest. What did I tell you? So the FBI cannot always collect information directly from the individual or notify them that their records are being included. According to the FBI, it is not feasible. So says the final rule. Of course it's feasible. It's called software. You can have software that'll do just about anything for you. If you program it, you can get a computer to program a computer to do just about anything. So if you want to have the ability to notify people that their information is now on file with the FBI and what type of information it is, all it takes is a little program. It's not, and it could work in the background all by itself autonomously. No, and it doesn't take much. So that's not a legitimate concern in my book when it comes to something like that. By saying it's not feasible, of course it's feasible. It's very feasible. It just there's a reason why they want to keep. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just looking at the. Okay, I've got one device that's given me two different times. I have no idea what time it is, to tell you the truth. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know what time it is. Interesting. So that's the actual time. So now I've got two computers that are lining up now. Well, one is my cell phone. So I've been off all morning. The time clock is off. The show clock is off, but the cell phone evidently has got it right, and so does the iPad. And very interesting. So I have no idea what the frick happened this morning, but we'll finish the program, finish the day. Probably if you're an affiliate, if I'm looking at this time correct now, I'm going to try to adjust, but we're 5 minutes off. I have no idea how that has. So I apologize, but I'm looking at the official atomic clock says is 5 minutes fast. How is that possible? Can somebody tell me that? Somebody explain to me, Lucy, how the atomic clock can be 5 minutes. I know it's supposed to be the most accurate clock on the planet. It's 5 minutes fast. Okay, I'm done trying to figure that out. Anyway, welcome to the age of technology, folks. We do have another song here I want to play for you. It is a military song, a military tribute song, and it is called "Call Me Soldier." And I know I'm not a big country music fan. I've said this over and over again, but it seems like people are sending me, these military tribute songs. A lot of them are like country music based. And I've always said that country music is probably the most patriotic form of American music that there is. And a close second would be, rock and roll, hard rock, actually. A lot of hard rockers do a lot of patriotic stuff. I don't know. Well, you could say Bruce Springsteen, is that more hard rock, I guess? I don't know. I'm not talking about, the really hard hairband rock like Twisted Sister or Bon Jovi or something, but the rockers. I guess it's not rock and roll, it's rockers. That would be a distant second place as far as patriotic stuff is concerned. But so this is "Call Me Soldier," and it is got a country music base to it, but it's still pretty cool. So enjoy.
Wrap me in a bolt of lightning, send me on my way still smiling. Maybe that's the way I should go, straight into the mouth of the unknown. I left the spare key on the table. I never really thought I'd be able to say I merely visit on the weekends. I lost my whole life and a different. I've said it so many many times I would change my ways. No, never mind. God knows I've tried. Call me a sinner, call me a saint. Tell me it's over, I'll still love you the same. Call me a favorite, call me the worst. Tell me it's over, I don't want you to hurt. It's all that I can say. So I was not mine. I had to say goodbye for the last time. I kept my whole life in a suitcase. Never really stayed in one place. Maybe that's the way it should be. You know I live my life like a gypsy. I've said it so many times. I would change my ways. No, never mind. God knows I've tried. Call me a sinner, call me a saint. Tell me it's over, I'll still love you the same. Call me a favorite, call me the worst. Tell me it's over, I don't want you to hurt. It's all that I can say. So I'll be on my way. I'll always keep you inside. You healed my heart and my life. And you know I tried. Call me a sinner, call me a saint. Tell me it's over, I'll still love you the same. Call me a favorite, call me the worst. Tell me it's over, I don't want you to hurt. It's all that I can say. So I'll be on my way. So I'll be on my way. So I'll be on my way.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there.
What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. Glad that you are here. So we're running about 5 minutes fast, I guess, according to the show clock. But the atomic clock would have us at nearly 10 minutes. I don't know. Anyway, 603-835-3226. Glad that you are here, even though we're having time issues with the time clocks, and of course, nothing we can do about that at the moment now. So it is what it is. Molina Healthcare is pulling out of 2 states, raising premiums 55%. In the remaining states, Molina Healthcare announced today that the company will be pulling out of Obamacare exchanges in Utah and Wisconsin and reducing its participation in the Washington state market. The company is still considering its continued participation in other states. In those states where it does remain, Molina will be requesting a 55% increase in premiums for 2018. So said the company in a press release. We are exiting the Utah and Wisconsin Affordable Care Act marketplaces effective December 31st, 2017. For the 3 months ended June 30th, 2017, these 2 health plans reported a total of $127 million in marketplace premium revenues, 16% of consolidated marketplace premium revenue, and a combined marketplace medical ratio of 128%. Our remaining marketplace plans, they say, we are increasing in 2018 by 55%. The increase takes into account the absence of cost-sharing reduction subsidies. We had assumed that cost-sharing reduction subsidies would be funded for 2018. The premium increase would have only been 30%. So if they'd gotten money from the government, then the premium increase will only be 30%. But since they're not getting any money from the government, it's going to be 55%. Can anybody tell me, how is this? How is Obamacare working? How is it really working? It's not working. It's not working at all. And for people to say that it is, in that people will lose, I've gone over this myself, as well as many other people have mentioned that you're not going to have some 20 plus million people who are going to lose their health care if we get rid of Obamacare. The dirty little secret is a lot of that 20 million wouldn't have health care if they had a choice to have it or not. They would choose not because they couldn't afford it, because they didn't want it. Or they would choose to have some sort of plan that is currently illegal and not considered to be health insurance, like catastrophic or major medical plans. I am one. I don't even agree with I know Sean Hannity's big on medical savings accounts. I'm not even big on those because it still means the government gets to regulate how you spend that money. It's your damn money. They shouldn't be allowed to regulate how you spend it at all, or where you save it or how you save it. Regardless, get the government out. Let people buy in the open marketplace across state lines individually. So it doesn't matter what job you have or what company you work for. You'll get the plan that you want and can afford. And you will get to keep it as long as you want it. Not worrying about it, you're going to lose a golden plan if you no longer work for that particular company. That was another dumb thing that we did. Having employers pay for your health care. I mean, this is silly. It was just stupid.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not.
It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. And we're now at the part of the program where it is time for military news. Yes, come one, come all. Get to your stations in order to listen to the military news for this Thursday, August the 3rd. What we have here is we have a new GI bill passes the Senate. Yes, new GI bill passes Senate. Lawmakers in Capitol Hill have unanimously passed legislation to make major changes to education benefits for military veterans. Now all that's left is for President Trump to sign it into law, and the White House says that the president will do so. The Harry W. Colmery, Colmery, Veterans Education Assistance Act of 2017 has garnered strong bipartisan support in Congress, where lawmakers have worked to fast-track the bill to the president's desk. Senators passed the legislation by voice vote yesterday, less than 3 weeks after the Forever GI Bill, as it's become known, was introduced into the House of Representatives. The bill will invest in the proven success of our veterans, said Senator Johnny Isakson, chairman of the Senate Committee on Veteran Affairs. The new bill will bring significant changes to the current law, which was passed in 2008. Among its most popular provisions are the eliminations for veterans who left the military in 2013 or later of a 15-year use or lose rule, as well as the expansion of benefits for reservists, Purple Heart recipients, and surviving dependents. It would also restore GI Bill benefits to veterans impacted by school closures since 2015 and allocate more funds for college degree programs in the science, technology, engineering, and math fields. If the Forever GI Bill, as it's known, becomes law, some of the provisions will take January 1st, 2018. Others would start next August, and others, like granting active duty service members eligibility for the Yellow Ribbon program, will not apply for a few more years. So they're going to be phasing it in once the president assigns it into law. But at least it's a step forward before our military veterans. By the way, can I say, I hate when people say veterans. It's not veterans. It's like, it's also not veterinary. It's veterinary. Let's have proper diction here and pronounce our words correctly. Veterans, not veterans. And because if you don't pronounce things right, you might mean something else because you're saying a different word. That's just my take on that. Also, from the Military Times, man who threatened military members gets 20-year prison sentence. Yes, hallelujah. Dateline, Cleveland, Ohio. An Ohio man has been sentenced to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges involving threatening U.S. military members online on behalf of the Islamic State. Terrence McNeil was sentenced yesterday in Cleveland. He pleaded guilty earlier to 5 counts of solicitation to commit a crime of violence and 5 counts of making threatening interstate communications. 5 other charges were dismissed. Now, FBI officials say McNeil posted a file on his Tumblr page in September of 2015 containing names and addresses of military personnel. The 24-year-old Akron man allegedly urged Islamic State supporters to behead those mentioned in the file. His attorney on Wednesday acknowledged the seriousness of the charges, but pointed out McNeil had no criminal history. Well, when it comes to something like that, does it really matter if he has a criminal history or not? Oh, well, we can't kill him on the battlefield because he's never been a soldier before. Give me a break. So attorney Nathan Ray says he believes McNeil got in over his head. Well, no, he knew exactly what he was doing. I hate it when can we stop making excuses for people's behavior and start holding them accountable? The man listed military personnel's names online, and then encouraged other ISIS-loving people and ISIS member people to find them and behead them. And yet we're supposed to say, well, he's never been in trouble with the law before. We don't know why he did. No, BS. Throw his ass under the jail and throw away the key. Well, I mean, he's got due process. He pled guilty. In other words, why did he admit it? Either way it goes, he knew exactly what he was doing, which is why he admitted it. This is insanity. Now, I'm not saying that the man doesn't deserve to have some sort of legal representation. He does, but for the attorney, when there's no possible way to possibly defend the actions of this person is when your attorney says, well, he's never been in trouble before. As if that's supposed to make things all better. Oh, it's his first time. We'll give him a slap on the hand, let him go because he's never been in trouble with the law before. Now, little Terrence, don't you do that again. How about you just take Terrence and you throw him under the jail and throw away the key? Well, that would be a dungeon, Rod. Now, do you realize that many original dungeons were not below the castle? They were in towers because you couldn't escape a tower. You had to go down and past all the guards. They put people in towers, and if they didn't like you, they didn't necessarily starve you. They just tossed you out a tower window. Oops, he tried to escape. He slipped and fell, didn't make it. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous stuff. You can't you can't threaten military personnel like that. I mean it's war, an act of war in my book. I mean we're in a state of war against radical Islamic terrorism in Islamic State, ISIS or ISIL. We're at war with them. And so when you put the names of military personnel online and encourage other ISIL members to come and behead them, that's an act of war. You're on the battlefield as far as I'm concerned. He's lucky. I think he should be lucky that he's still alive, to tell you the truth. Rod, you can't be serious. You wouldn't. He's threatening the lives of military personnel and their families. It's an act of war. Yes, he's lucky to be alive. 20 years is a light sentence because you know he's going to be out in like 10 to 15 for good if he has good behavior. Oh, he's kind of like O.J. Simpson. He was a model prisoner. He never caused any trouble. He always did what he was told, and he behaved himself, so we should let him out early. Well, he's not getting out early. In fact, for most people that did this crime get half the amount of time that O.J. Simpson was sentenced with. But so he's really not getting out early. But in any case, that's the whole thing. Well, just because he's been a good boy or a good girl in jail, we're going to let him out early. No, it's ridiculous. You did the crime, you got sentenced, now do the time. Plain and simple. And that is today's military report. Now, having to do with the military, but not part of the military report, is McCain. But this is from Hot Air. McCain's favorable rating is now 35 points higher among Democrats than Republicans. What's that tell you about John McCain? Now, how many senators are underwater among their own party and way, way above water in the other party? Well, John McCain is at minus 10 in the Republican Party and at plus 56 in the Democrat Party. So maybe McCain should think about switching. Switching party. Well, switching his party, right? I would assume so. All things considered, having just cast a vote that probably sank Obamacare repeal for good, at least for this year, 39 to 49 among Republicans isn't half bad. Half bad. Well, I guess if you look at the glass as half full, half empty, what have you. Either there are a surprisingly number of GOPers who were glad to see skinny repeal go down, or there's enough residual goodwill for McCain within the party to make his repeal vote not completely alienating to the base. A personal sympathy for him, given the state of his health, contribute too. That's the big thing. Because people are already making excuses for McCain in certain. Well, it's the brain cancer that's making him do it. No, it's not. This is the way this man has always been. Go back and look at the record, man. Even back when he was in the Senate under Ronald Reagan, it's the same damn thing. It's nothing new or nothing different with this guy. Now, according to this, Trump's favorability is 34 favorable, 61 unfavorable, which is also, I don't buy that either. But favorable for John McCain, 39% favorable with Republicans, and 74% favorable among Democrats, and 60% favorable among independents. Now, that has got to be simply because, not because he killed Obamacare, because those same people want Obamacare gone. It's got to be the sympathy card. Well, he's got brain cancer and he's like 80, he's like 150 years old now, so we gotta, he's a war hero, and there are all kinds of stuff in articles about John McCain's time in Vietnam, which don't paint him in a very positive light, I might add. And like John Kerry. You don't hear from them very often, but there are a lot of, former soldiers that don't speak very highly of John. They served with McCain. They don't speak very highly of him. There are a bunch of soldiers that didn't speak very, Navy sailors that didn't speak very highly of Lurch, as Rush Limbaugh calls him. Kerry. By the way, they're both named John. There must be something about. I know a lot of Johns that are good, nice people. They're nice men, but these two Johns, I don't know if are there any other Johns in the Senate that are good Johns? Because these two Johns are not good Johns. John Kerry and John McCain. McCain is just. He's turned into this. He's always been this little evil minion, and not minions in Despicable Me movies, because those minions are cute. By the way, have you seen the Despicable Me movie? This latest one. Evidently, it's done so well that it's almost guaranteed to give us a Despicable Me 4. Well, I don't have a problem with that. I like the Minions. I will definitely be watching this latest one. I guess there's going to be another Minions movie as well. And I learned something about Antonio Banderas. He's a very busy actor, person, not just acting, of late. And I realized while watching this short ditty on Antonio Banderas why I have what do they call it? A man crush? Is that what they call it? It's his voice. I was right, because that's why he became such a huge star in the USA, because of his voice. It was sexy. With that Spanish accent and how it was gruff and smoky sounding. That's right. Here's Antonio Banderas. So, no more chit chat. Let's play. So that's what the little spiel told me about Antonio Banderas. So there you have it. So I'm not the only one. There's a lot of wonderful straight men have a man crush on Antonio Banderas, because he's just he was Zorro, for crying out loud. That's just cool.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong, and any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable Men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hair right.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable Men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know you've lived a little if you decide to run for public office, but you have a black mark on your histoire, your personal histoire, as it were. Well, that is the excuse. Political consultant Greg Bowens has said there are candidates that run for public office with past hardships in every election cycle. It's not something unique to this town or the political arena in general. Black marks on your record show you have lived a little and have overcome some challenges. This in the light that the Detroit News has uncovered that over half of the 8 mayoral hopeful candidates in Detroit's primary ballot next week have been convicted of felony crimes involving drugs, assault, or weapons charges. And so says a Detroit News analysis. 3 were charged with gun crimes and 2 for assault with intent to commit murder. Now, some of the offenses date back to back decades. The earliest is 1977. The most recent is 2008. So Tuesday's Detroit mayoral primary election is the first since the city exited bankruptcy in 2014. The field of 8 will be narrowed to 2 who will face off in the fall. So I wonder, it doesn't say how many of them are Democrats. I wouldn't be surprised if they were all Democrats. But can you imagine? Yeah. My mayor was convicted of attempted murder. How can they still run, by the way? I thought that was not, you weren't allowed to, in any case. And finally this afternoon, this morning, we have something for all of you wonderful Patriot fans and Patriot haters out there. Tom Brady is turning 40 this season, but he's showing few signs of decline at this milestone. Indeed, he seems like he's still in his 20s, and you can actually live the Brady lifestyle. I guess there's what is that number 12 foundation or whatever it is that he's. It's supposed to be a regimen of I don't know what it is. You got to pay quite a bit to get in on it. It's a regimen of diet and vitamins and mineral supplements and exercise and stuff like that. So I don't really know what I've tried. I've gone to the website once before, but you really can't get much information unless you buy the stuff. And it's not all that inexpensive, by the way. Just saying. But evidently, he actually does practice what he preaches. And he lives. I guess he lives half the year. He's a vegetarian, and half the year he eats some meat. I guess during the football season he eats meat. Off season he doesn't. I don't know how anybody does it that way, but okay, whatever. But so he's evidently he's looking very good in camp, football camp, and practice so far. So we'll have to wait and see as the football season quickly approaches, because it's now August, so we're going to get some preseason games coming up in the next couple of weeks, and then of course in September, early September, we will have the kickoff for the next season. Will you be watching football this year? I don't know about Kaepernick. He may be watching from the sidelines or maybe from at home. I don't know. In any case, we're out of time for the day, but we'll be back here tomorrow. It's Open Mic Friday, basically, Freedom Friday, so be here. Almost anything goes. We'll see you then. Have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Hopefully we'll get these damn time thing all straightened out. Until then, I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile.